your forecast first. Sponsored by Natax Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, tracking a little bit of severe weather on this Tuesday, just as we anticipated. You can see we've got some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here, including McLean County, right over Bloomington, a storm there, over Pontiac as well into Livingston County. It is that area right there that has the best chance of seeing some severe weather over the next hour or so. But we are also tracking a line that just moved through Mechanicsburg. If you're in Heliopolis right now, the skies are dark to your west, Mount Auburn as well, as this little area of thunderstorm activity continues to move through. And we kind of widen the view out. You can see how this line is moving off here to the east. We've got a big temperature drop behind this front that's going to be moving through the area. We'll talk about that, and we'll go a little bit more into greater detail about the severe weather threat that is ongoing right now into those counties. Look at some of our live weather cameras as well when we come back, so stay tuned. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
COVID-19 hospitalizations are rising across the state. Which hospital in central Illinois is now postponing some surgeries to cope? Plus, state lawmakers were supposed to head back to the Capitol next week. Why that will no longer be happening. And a former pastor is facing sex crime charges. We hear from the person who says he abused her for years.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
The sunny skies and unseasonably warm temperatures could not last forever. We are following a severe weather threat tonight. Good evening. I'm Paul Cicchini. The line of storms moving through the area is posing a wind damage threat. WCIA 3's chief meteorologist Kevin Lighty joins us now. So, Kevin, break this all down for us. What's the latest?
All right, we've got a handful of counties that have warnings associated with them tonight, and we are tracking that for you as well. We want to show you some of our cameras here. We've got, this is a camera in Springfield. You can see that the Capitol building there is off in the distance. Look at the camera that is bouncing around. That's a live view on a Roofing Guide at Flooring America camera. We're also seeing storms slowly starting to approach the Decatur area. Now, it's not storming in Decatur yet, but notice the clouds there really dark there as we look off to the west. They will be next impacted. Take a look at Pontiac right now, but also has, you can see there the flash of lightning as the storms start to approach Pontiac there. So a view from there. And then again, we're also looking at Bloomington. That is also slowly starting to see storms move in to that area as well. So that's the view from our weather camera network. Now let's switch it back to the Storm Tracker Doppler radar, and you can see where we've got the warnings in effect there from McLean County, from Bloomington up to Pontiac. But I'm also tracking a little cell here that is not warned, but boy, it's still looking a little intense. That's going to be in southern portions of Logan County, right there into eastern portions of Sangamon County, near Heliopolis, south of Mount Pulaski. Pretty good little storm. So that's going to be just west of Decatur, and that is moving off here to the east. So let's kind of put a little bit of a storm path on this and show you the areas that will be impacted over the next half or an hour or so. And you can see locations there on that northern edge of the storm. And then we take our storm here that is located down to the south and west, and we'll plot that for you. And you can see we're looking at areas of Decatur in the next 25 minutes or so. That will be on top of you to Oriana as well. And the biggest threat with these storms will be damaging straight line winds that could be upwards of 60 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 6 p.m. tonight. We're going to continue to monitor this activity and get you any other further updates as they come in. So stick around. Paul, that's the latest.
All right, I know we'll see you in a few minutes if we don't see you sooner. Kevin, thanks. Hospitalizations across the state are passing peaks set in this spring, with some areas even tripling those previous highs. WCIA 3's Cole Hankey is live in our Springfield newsroom. So, Cole, what are medical professionals saying tonight?
Hospitals in the area are saying that they are able to handle the current number of COVID patients, but the numbers could be getting worse here in the near future. They are also preparing for the worst case scenarios. Sangamon County is one of the biggest hotspots in the state right now. 4 out of 5 days last week, the county posted over 200 new cases per day, and today posted well over 300 new cases. But for Dr. Raj Govindaya, Chief Medical Officer of Memorial Health System in Springfield, that wasn't surprising. He says his hospital right now is fine as far as bed capacity goes, but they are constantly planning to adjust to higher needs if necessary.
the hospitalizations tend to lag the number of cases in the community. So you need the cases in the community to peak, and then a week or 2 weeks later, the cases in the hospitals will peak as well.
Both Region 3 and Region 6 are seeing constant rises in hospital use, with ICU availability and overall capacity sitting in the lower 30%. And the state's line of concern for that metric is around 20%. And in Region 3 and Region 6, hospitalizations are over 3 times the peak set back in the spring. Paul.
Obviously something that we will continue to keep an eye on. Cole, thanks for that update. An area hospital is postponing some surgeries because it is so full. Sarah Bush Lincoln in Mattoon has 43 patients with COVID-19, the most ever. They've decided to put a hold on most inpatient elective surgeries, but they are doing that on a case-by-case basis.
It's really about bed space and not about safety. The hospital is on peak census, and we have to make sure that if somebody's having an inpatient surgery, that they've got a bed to go to when they come out of surgery.
Now, if you have a surgery scheduled, the hospital will contact you beforehand if it needs to be delayed. So let's take a look at today's coronavirus numbers. They are not good. 5 more people have lost their lives in Champaign County. It is the largest daily rise yet, and that brings the death toll up to 37 total. Across the state, 79 more people have died, several of those from counties in central Illinois. Illinois has now lost more than 10,000 people to COVID-19. It's another record-setting day for cases. More than 12,000 were reported, with a 7-day positivity rate of now 12%. There are more than 511,000 infections diagnosed since this pandemic began. State lawmakers will not return to work this fall after all. The developing story breaking moments ago. Speaker Madigan's office announcing the fall veto session is canceled. Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell is live in Springfield with the latest. So, Mark, they were scheduled to return to Springfield for it next week. We have Mark now. So, Mark, tell us what is happening right now.
Well, Paul, lawmakers have their work cut out for them. Governor Pritzker even alluding to that earlier today. The state's finances are a mess right now. You've got the bill backlog ballooning. The governor's graduated income tax failed at the ballot box last week. And, of course, COVID-19 blew an $8 billion hole in the budget. So state lawmakers were anxious to get back to work this fall to try and find some repair. No help coming from Congress anytime soon, at least as far as we can tell. Not to mention, environmental advocates are pushing for a new energy bill. The Black Caucus pushing for police reform after the anxious summer of protest we saw about racial injustice. But the Speaker's office now under siege from his own party as there are candidates running to claim his gavel in the fall. He slammed the brakes on session, issuing this letter just moments ago saying, quote, there is a strong majority of members who would prefer the House delay convening to a later date. He says this is primarily motivated by concerns about the rising COVID-19 rates and proximity to upcoming holidays. Now, that rumor had been swirling for more than a week, but earlier today, Governor Pritzker said he was hoping this would not happen, saying, quote, that would be disappointing. We have so much work to do in Springfield. He guessed he knew why people might be concerned about gathering as he's discouraging large gatherings across the state right now, quote, but I must say it would be disappointing. There are we just have so many things we need to accomplish, he said. Even still, many of the state's big problems that we have are not going to get any better or any closer to a resolution through procrastination. That's one reason House Republicans are pointing to the Speaker's political headaches, saying maybe that's the reason why he's pressing pause on session, canceling it outright until the new General Assembly is seated. That wouldn't happen until January. There are a growing number of Democrats calling for the Speaker to resign or step down, but also lately a growing number of Democrats coming to his defense, including the Illinois AFL-CIO, the largest trade union in the state, today issuing a statement, quote, now is the time for unity, not division. So a lot of policy problems on the table and a political problem for Speaker Madigan. Reporting in Springfield, WCIA, Mark Maxwell, WCIA 3, your local news leader. Paul.
All right, Mark, thanks for that update. A former pastor in Danville is facing sexual assault and abuse charges. Timothy Shaw turned himself into Fairview Heights police about 2 weeks ago. His cousin, Tamaya Sanders, says he sexually abused her when she was 9. He was 16 at the time and had just moved in with Sanders' family when his mom died. Shaw was the pastor at Second Baptist Church in Danville. Sanders says Shaw abused her for 7 years, and she believes there are other victims.
The most surprising thing is just like all of these people coming forward, and to know that it took me to get this man behind bars. So that's what's really surprising, knowing that I wasn't the only one out there who had a story about him.
We reached out to Second Baptist Church in Danville, calling several times and leaving a message over Facebook. They have not gotten back to us. A U of I employee is facing backlash after posting tweets some students say are prejudiced. In 2013, Larry Jacobson tweeted, "I won't tolerate Islam." Last month, he said terrorists would thank President-elect Joe Biden for hiring Muslims in his administration. The U of I released a statement saying, quote, his tweets go against school values. It says he posted them on his personal time and he doesn't interact directly with students. State police are investigating a 3-vehicle crash on Illinois Route 47 in Champaign County. Traffic was shut down for about 2.5 hours this morning. Our crew saw a semi on its side and a pickup truck being towed from the scene. State police say a pickup driver was cited for driving under the influence. They say one person was taken to the hospital, but they should be okay. The pandemic forced an emergency shelter to shut its doors for months, while staff say its reopening comes just in time. Plus, the city's long wait for Portillo's will soon be over when the restaurant plans to open its newest location.